Hello viewers, you're welcome back to my channel. In this video lesson, I'm going to explain a very interesting topic in mathematics, which is circle geometry. And this topic has been divided into several sections across different videos for easy understanding. But before we get into this video, I want to ask you guys for a huge favor. If you have been following me for some time and have been watching some of my videos, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. And if you are subscribed, do it to click on the notification bell just beneath this video. I make content all the time on this channel, and a lot of time you just can't keep up because there's so much stuff to do. But I don't want you to miss out on the videos I upload all the time, and I see that more than 20% of persons watching my videos are not subscribed to my channel. So do it to click on the subscribe button just beneath this video right away. So let's get into this video. So before we look at circle geometry and the various theorems or laws we have in circle geometry, we should understand what the word circle geometry or the topic itself means. So first of all, what is a circle? So a circle is simply a close. It is closed because from the beginning to the end, they are attached to each other. If we have something like this, this is not a circle, but a circle is a closed two-dimensional shape in which all the set of points are at an equidistance. Take note of this word equidistance. This is what makes a circle a circle. What does that mean? Equi means equal. Distance means distance. So it means all the points are at an equal distance from a given point, which is known as the center. So from this point to the center, they are at an equal distance. So if from here to here is 2 centimeter, also from here to here will also be 2 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 2 centimeter. So across all these several points, they are at an equal distance from the center. So this is what makes a circle a circle. Moving on, the next word in our topic is geometry, and the word geometry can further be broken down into geo and metry. Now the word geo means earth, just as the earth we live on. That is why the word geography as a subject or as a field of discipline, here geo means earth, and then the word graphy means description, or in further sense it can mean study. So that's why geography is the description of the earth or a study of the earth. So the metry in the word geometry means measurement. So basically in a circle we are actually measuring two things. It is either we are measuring a length of any of the parts or an angle. So these are the two things we can measure from a circle. So in the measurement, we are either measuring the length or an angle. So basically, we are broken down the word circle geometry. So we know a circle has a two-dimensional shape in which all the points are at an equal distance from the center. And we know that the word geometry means measurement of the earth, but we are considering the circle in place of the earth. Though the earth is not a circle, it is best described as an imperfect circle, best called, or the shape for the earth is called a sphere. But in mathematics, we are making this to be the measurement of circles. So in essence, circle geometry is actually a measurement of circles. Just to further buttress our point, circle geometry is the aspect of mathematics that deals with the properties. So in circle geometry, we are studying certain properties. What are those properties? Properties like the circumference of a circle, the radius of a circle, the diameter of a circle, so on and so forth. And also we are studying the relationship between these properties. For example, there's a relationship between the diameter of a circle, d, and the radius. And what is the relationship? Diameter is 2 times of the radius. So 2 times of the radius will give us the diameter. So we can study relationship between properties, or we can also talk about the measurement of these properties. Measurement like the length of a diameter, the length of an arc, a circumference itself. So basically in circle geometry, we are studying or we are measuring properties relationship and also measurement of various parts of a circle and the figures that relate to them. In this video lesson, we are going to look at basic concept in circle geometry, and this concept will help us as we treat the various theorems and laws in circle geometry. So it is important you have a full grasp of the various concepts we have in circle geometry. And the various concepts we look at are the circumference. We'll then look at the arc of a circle, radius, diameter, a chord, sector, segment, and lastly a tangent. So the first concept we are going to look at is the circumference of a circle. So what is the circumference? As the name implies, circum means to go round. So that's what the name circumference implies. So basically, the circumference of a circle is the distance or perimeter. In our basic mathematics, there is this concept called the perimeter, and the name peri here means around, and meter is the unit for measuring distance. So this one is used for measuring distance, the distance unit. So basically, perimeter simply means the distance around a plane shape. So if we have a square, for example, the distance around from here to here, down to this part, down to this part, and down to this part, the distance around this shape is what is rightly referred to as a perimeter. But for a circle, the perimeter of a circle is specially called the circumference. So basically, the circumference is the perimeter of a circle or the distance around the circle. So to go around this circle, the distance around this circle is what we call circumference. And there's a formula for calculating circumference. The formula is circumference is equal to 2 times pi times radius, where radius is the distance from the center to the circumference. So the formula for calculating circumference is 2 pi r. So our second concept is the arc. So what is an arc? An arc is simply a part of a circumference. Already we have established that the circumference is the distance around a plane shape. So a part, it could just be from here to here. This is an arc. So an arc is an incomplete or a fraction of a circumference. So later on, we can talk about this part, that's this bigger part, this bigger arc, to be called a major arc, or known as a major arc. Then the smaller one can be rightly referred to as a minor arc. As the name implies, major means big and minor means small. So the third concept is radius. So what is radius? Radius is a line, a straight line, if I may add. So it is a straight line which is drawn from the center. So from this center marked as O to any point on the circumference. Remember, this line that goes round is a circumference. So any line that is drawn from here to any point, this is a radius. It could be from here to here, this is also a radius. It could be from here to here, this is also a radius. The basic concept is that the line, that straight line, start from the center and terminate at any point on the circumference. So this is what makes a radius a radius. The fourth concept or property of a circle is the diameter of a circle. So what is a diameter? A diameter is a straight line. Note, it is not a curve. It's a straight line that is drawn from any point of the circumference, and it does what? It passes through the center to another point. So what does it mean? The line starts from, let's take this as a point. It starts from this point, a straight line. It passes through the center and it does not stop there, because if it stops at the center, it is a radius. It then passes to another point of the circumference. So this line is what is known as a diameter. So if you can recall, a radius starts from the center to the circumference. So it's like, looking at it, a radius is half of a diameter. So that implies that the radius is simply half of the diameter. So we have it as radius is equal to diameter over 2. So that is very simple. So we can cross multiply, and when we cross multiply, the diameter is 2 times of the radius. So it's very simple. The radius is from the center to any point, so half, but the diameter is from one point of the circle passing through the center to another point of the circle. So from one point through the center to another point. So that's what makes it diameter. Now it is very important you know the relationship between radius and diameter. The diameter is 2 times of the radius. So if I have a radius to be 7 centimeter, that implies that the diameter should be 2 times 7, which will give us 14 centimeter. So our fifth concept is a chord. Now a chord is similar to a diameter in the sense that, number one, it is a straight line. Secondly, it starts from one point of the circumference then to another, but in this case it does not pass through the center. That is why we use the word without passing through the center. So in this case, it starts from a point. Let's say that a point, a straight line from one point to another, but in this case it does not pass through the center, because if it passes through the center, it is no longer a chord, but it is now a diameter. So take note of the difference between a chord and a diameter. They are both straight line drawn from one point of the circumference to another, but in the case of a diameter, it passes through the center, but in the case of a chord, it does not pass through the center. Moving on, the next concept is a sector. So whenever you think of a sector, think of a pizza. So what is a sector? A sector is simply a part or an area of a circle that is bounded by 2 radii. So just to note that radius is singular, then this is singular, then radii is plural. So singular and plural. So this is plural. So that's why it is written as 2 radii. So it is formed by 2 radii and then an arc. So remember that an arc is simply a part of a circumference. So an arc can be from here to here. So let's take from here to here as an arc. So an arc, then a radius and another radius. So this 2 radii and this arc forms a sector. So this area within is a sector. Also, this other part is an arc as well. It is formed by an arc also by this radius and this radius. So this part also is a sector. So just to note that a smaller one is rightly called a minor sector, and the bigger one, this outer one or the larger one, is rightly called a major sector. So again, whenever you think of a sector, think of a pizza. So the next part is a segment. So whenever you think of segment, think of a meat pie or a mixed pie. So what is a segment? A segment is the area of a circle that is bounded by a chord. Again, what is a chord? A chord, like we rightly defined, is a straight line that passes from one point of the circumference to another point of the circumference without passing through the center. So a segment is formed or bounded by a chord and an arc. Recall that an arc is a part of the circumference. So from here to here is an arc. So this is an arc, and then we can have a chord. So this part within that is bounded means enclosed by this chord and an arc is a segment. Also, this other larger part is also a segment because it is formed by an arc, this arc, and then this chord. So this also a segment. And in real sense, the smaller segment is called a minor segment because minor means small. And then the larger one is called a major segment. So take note of what forms a segment: a chord and an arc. Again, whenever I think of a segment, think of a meat pie or a mixed pie. So our last property of a circle, or a basic term of a circle, is called a tangent. And what's a tangent? A tangent is an external line. External means outside. It's a line found outside that touches any point of the circumference. So a line like this that is found outside, or better still, something that goes like this. this line, they are called tangent. So a tangent is simply an external line that touches any point of the circumference, and also it is a straight line. So here are extra notes that are relevant in circle geometry, and the first is that a right angle is at 90 degrees. So when you are given a question and you are being told that it is a right angle, just know that you will always find something like this. So this angle, without you being told, this angle is at 90 degrees. So whenever you hear the word right angle, think of 90 degree or angle 90. Secondly, the sum of angles on a straight line is equal to 180 degree. So we have a straight line. The angle on a straight line, either on this side is 180 degree, or on the other side is 180 degrees. So just know that the sum of angles on a straight line is equal to 180. So if I have something like this, I have this part to be 120 degree, and I'm looking for this other part, x. I should ask myself, what am I going to add to 120 to give me 180, since this is a straight line? So I'm simply going to add 60 to 120. So 120 plus 60 should give us 180 degree. So take note of this fact that the sum of angles on a straight line is equal to 180 degree. The third point is that the sum of angles at a point is equal to 360 degree. So this is a point. So the angles at this point, is equal to 360 degree. What does this simply mean? It simply means that to make a complete turn, to go around a circle, is what? 360 degree. So you could be given something like this. Let's say you are given something like this. You are given this part, let's say, to be 300, and you are told to find this part. You know this part will make it a complete circle. So I should ask myself, what can I add to 300 to make it 360? So in this case, your answer will simply be 60 degrees. So 300 plus 60 will give you 360 degrees. So in essence, or in real fact, the angles at a point, that's to go around a circle or to make a complete rotation or revolution, is equal to 360 degrees. So in the fourth point, the sum of angles in a quadrilateral. Now what is a quadrilateral? If some person might ask, the word quad means 4. Then the word lateral means sides. So it's simply a shape that has 4 sides. So it can either be a square. A square is equilateral. It can be a rectangle. It can be a kite. It can be a rhombus. It can be a parallelogram. It can be a trapezium. So we have a lot of quadrilateral. So what does this simply mean? This is a square. Let's take a square as a good example of a quadrilateral. The angle here is 90. The angle here is 90, 90, and 90. So when you add up all the angles within the quadrilateral, so this is 90, this 90, this 90, this 90. So when you add up these 90s together, you eventually end up getting 360. So irrespective of the quadrilateral, when you add up all the angles within that quadrilateral, it will automatically or definitely give you what? 360, or we expect it to give you 360 degree. Lastly, one of the important facts you ought to know is that the sum of the angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degree, irrespective of how the triangle is drawn. So if we have a triangle and we have an angle here A, we have another angle here B, and then C. So if we sum up the triangles A plus B plus C, it should end up giving us 180 degrees. So if this angle is 70 degree and this is 40 degree, I can definitely find this angle. Let's say it's X. So simply this will be 70 plus 40 plus X. Since this is a triangle, I should know that the sum of the angles within this triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So this will give us 110 plus X is equal to 180. Then X will give us 180 minus 110. So definitely the answer to this question should be 70 degree. So viewers, I hope you enjoyed this video lesson and you learned something from this video lesson. Do it to give this video a thumbs up and also share this video lesson to your friend. And if you have any question, comment or suggestion, do it to leave them in the comment section beneath this video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do it to click on the subscribe button just beneath the video lesson and also turn on the notification bell so that whenever I release any video, you always get notified. So see you in my next video.